cartouche, bro.
Yeah, cartouche.
Like folding it like some fucking mad origami. Like,
Yeah.
shit, how did I used to do this?
Do you know, like, what I remembered how to do a cartouche again was when my kid was really small. Actually, no, it was during COVID and she was homeschooled. Like, yeah, over here, home fucking it.
Yeah.
And we were making, I don't know what they call them. They're like, you do a cartouche and then you cut them like you do.
Yeah.
But you cut them in weird things and they make like, snowflakes.
Oh, yeah.
So
I
gay.
remember them. Yeah.
But we were just finding shit to do like that.
Yeah.
And then I remember I was so dumb. I was watching this tutorial on how to make them on YouTube, like an absolute dad, and going, this is dumb. I hate this in my head.
Yeah.
And I'm going, let's make them. You know, What else are we going to do today? Yeah. We're both bored of each other. And then I started making it, and I was like, "Oh, this is a cartouche." And I started making it like real quick, just go on the bench like this, and just throwing them out, and she would cut them. And then I felt like I just watched a YouTube tutorial on how to make a cartouche. And I was like,
mate, next time I get asked to do a cartouche, I'm going to do a snowflake and just see what the chef says.
Yeah.
Just leave it on top of a stove.
Yeah.
Have a nice pattern into it. Like,
Do it to a French person.
Or do it, and then you got to make. You got to make at least 3, but like make them completely different, right? Like
different styles.
But then don't show the other 2. Just wait till someone goes, "What is this?" And then you go, "Oh, that's a snowflake. They're all different or something." And then you just bring out the other 2 and go, "Which one should I use?"
3 different stops, 3 different snowflakes going on.
If you were really good at it too, like if they were perfect, little gingerbread men or whatever, just like
that'd be the good one. Just you got to hit the 3rd one last. But like, I've got this other one. It's not perfect, but you know, it's regional snowflakes or some bullshit, and then go, and then just pull out the fucking gingerbread man. On a full Christmas.
Yeah, I'd respect that. A dude in the corner on his prep bench, just like.
I think that's a fat morale boost, mate. Every chef in the kitchen looking at the stock pots would be like, yeah, nice.
Yeah,
that is a really good one. Now you say it. Yeah, good. That's
or like
good,
if you're about to leave a place and you just leave a gastro full of cartouches, you're like, I did you guys a favour, some cartouches in there. First day that you're not there, they're like, what the fuck is he been doing?
Because they would look, if you left them rolled up or folded up, they would look the same, but just put a massive hole. If you could do it, or maybe spiral it somehow, just so it's like mainly air.
Yeah. Someone goes, "Oh, can you make a cartouche?" You're like, "I've got it," and then you've given them a ring. It's just like around the edge of the pot perfectly.
You just spent your last 10 days making like 800 cartouches.
He's always in early. What's he doing? No one knows.
He's done such a sick changeover. Yeah,
you must be in a serious kitchen if you're cartouching.
That's hardcore. It is hardcore, actually. They're doing some seriously sick stuff. Have you eaten there yet? No. You got to come down. You've eaten previously, right?
Yeah, I've eaten there, and then I videoed the Pine Ghana one.
Nice.
So
this is New Ruin.
Ruin.
I think we were talking about
Fremantle.
Yeah. It's awesome, man. So Blaze obviously opened it like a couple years back, but she's doing that and Edward Niders, which is the pub in the city. And then Steph's taken over as head chef, and he used to be at Balthazar, and is just a fucking wizard, bro. Like, just knows pastry in and out, knows the French classics in and out. So, like, I'd been watching him on Instagram for a while I was working at Lola's, and I was like, fuck, these guys are doing some sick shit.
That's so funny you say that, because I geek out on your Insta stories and like Blazers as well. I mean, like, you cross-share everything anyway, kind of thing. But, like, just watching the... all of the terrines, all of the like, I like fap over that shit.
Yeah, was it like same?
And the tarts.
I don't have.
I love that little wiggle you always do with the little tarts.
So when I was back in London, I was doing like ended up on sauce section, so doing like proteins and stuff like that. But like the way that they're making pâté en croûte, it's just like all of his pastry, all of his like consommé jellies and shit. It's like real classic stuff that I don't really know about. So I was watching from a distance for a while, and then I went to eat there a few times, and I was like, fuck, this place is so sick.
Because they're just nailing the level.
They're nailing the classics. Like, they get everything done.
Yeah, you should see it.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. But also, like, the front of house there, it's probably one of the first places I worked where the front of house are just as serious as the back of house. Like, like, all of the front of house are fucking guns, and they love their jobs. Like, they're hell into it. So, like, you go to the briefing, and they're all asking the right questions. They got notepads and shit. And, like, customers obviously love it in there. We get heaps of good reviews and stuff. So I just went as a guest, and the first couple of times I ate there, I was like, fuck, I need to work here, man. Like, everybody is so invested. Like, I want to be part of that kind of team. So
that's fun.
How did they collect all the front of house people?
Bro, I don't know, right?
Because it's such a good question, especially Perth.
Yeah,
I reckon I can name 5 places like that I personally know that would do that.
Yeah, I love Melbourne because I go back and the front of house are invested. Chin-chins or whatever. You got like 3 people bussing your table.
You can tell. well.
And they're like,
as you come in, you
They're
get
in Korea
together.
hospo, right?
Yeah.
They're like, fuck, I
it.
love this job. You know, they're staying for drinks after knock-ons. They know about all the wines.
Yeah.
They got all the new cocktails. Like, I don't know. I've never really worked in somewhere where it's not like every now and again you're trying to pull a casual in and be like, oh, hey man, can you fill some hours here or there? Like everybody just works seamlessly. So it's just a nice team, man.
Are they English as well? Or French and Italian front of house people?
Bro, actually Aussies. I'm working with heaps of Aussies front of house. I'm just trying to think if there's any English.
You live in some kind of Narnia land, bro.
I know, man. That's why you got to come down there and try it out, man. It's fucking sick. Like,
I just think he's making it up.
Yeah, it's bullshit. I'm literally sent on here to advertise.
And I love pate as well. You'll get me with the pate. I'll be
the
fine.
pate on croûte, he changes every week, the pate on croûte, right?
I've noticed, I fully like,
Yeah, he's coming with crazy
full geek it.
Flavors or...
Well, no, he's just... So, like, he'll do different
stuffings. I don't even care. I just like looking at it.
Like, oh, man, like pork loins that he's wrapped in ash, so you get, like, the black ring and colours and fucking... One week was capsicum, because we were doing a bit more provincial stuff. Like, man, it blows my mind. I don't know about any of this shit. Yeah, I don't even want to touch it. I'm just looking from afar. I'm like, fuck that.
Once you go down... That is a rabbit hole I went down. I think that's why I like it so much, because I, like, respect each little bit of it.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good way to... Like, that, especially the middle bits, or if you can get, like... If you could nail a fucking 4 or 5 piece, like you're a fucking god, bro.
But the edges,
but it's literally you can use trim, but if you do it in a way we can get it tender first or a certain color, and try and get the. Like I was doing duck, I could just nail that duck breast one for a while, where it's fucking stunning duck breast, and then layer them so it was fully rectangular through the center, but it was perfectly cooked. And everything else looked like... I love how dark it is. Not a lot of people get that darkness on the pastry.
Well, I didn't realise it's like a 2-day process, right? So, like, you do have to keep on top of it because we're getting rolled at the moment. Like, weekends are hell busy. And, like, we'll go for a pate on croûte in a day. And you're like, fuck, we got to keep... Like, next week's going to have to be 2. Next week's going to have to be 3 now, you know? Like, you're trying to get them out. We've only got a certain amount of moulds and stuff. And people coming in asking for the pate on croûte. So, he's obviously doing something right there.
Yeah. Can we geek out on this more? Like, what's the process, dude? Like,
man, I wouldn't even want to share his secrets, to be honest.
We'll get him on.
Yeah, he's going to come on at some point.
He hit us up a couple of days ago.
It's like you start with, obviously, the pastry, and then he's, like, filling it. You're cooking it off in the oven, and then he's got to, like, fill it with jelly and consommé. So he's, like, balancing the pate on croûte so, like, all of the jelly spreads evenly, because every slice he wants to look exactly the same.
Yeah.
And then when you look at the meat, it's all these different marbles, you know. Some week, like you say, you can use heaps of trim. So, like, some week we'll have, like, some pork loins, or he'll fucking marinate some chicken in brandy or whatever. Like, he just does heaps of different stuff.
I used to make him at home.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck it.
But it was like, without the layering bit, it was mainly like the coarse, when I had my mincer out, it was like coarse mince and all that shit. I knew just ratios in my head.
Yeah.
Of like, and then put like bulk thick cream sometimes and all this sort of shit. So like,
set it in.
Yeah. Fuck yeah!
I didn't make anything at home.
I don't think my wife. I don't think my wife appreciated it. I don't think she like. I mean, like, who wants this every day?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Some days I just want snags and mash.
That's
you know?
that's actually like my staff breakfast. Most mornings is like a little corner of pate on croûte. He's like, you got to try the new one. So every other day I'm getting like a new pate on croûte for breakfast.
Yeah. And what are you doing there if he's fucking got that sorted?
So I'm on the pans at the moment. So I work between grill and pans. Just all of the heavy prep jobs, really, the bigger stuff. So like meats, proteins, fish, breaking all of that down, sauces. Like we just run the kitchen between me, Steph and Blaze, and then we've got like a couple casuals that fill in. So it's pretty busy, but it's awesome, man. It's a hell nice working environment. They're super chill to work with. Like kitchens have definitely changed from imagine when you guys were working and also when I started.
That's all we hear now.
It's actually just a really nice working environment. Like I don't know what the fuck happened or when the transition came into play, but like
I think a lot of it was to do with like recent events as well, like COVID as well, when everyone just chilled.
Yeah,
all my chef mates at least just chilled.
Yeah,
to be like you just sort of slowly entered society. It was definitely changing before that. I'd noticed a lot of it, especially hotels.
Yeah,
when they were heavy on the HR.
Yeah, for sure.
But I remember like all my chef mates over COVID that weren't really working, didn't really have to work, needed to work, got the government money for, off and on, you know. But it was
probably the first time all of these chefs got time off, like actually a weekend off to spend time with family and kids and shit. And also, I think the younger chefs coming up these days, they don't really put up with the bullshit. Like I remember just fucking eating shit. As an apprentice chef, just copping it. Chefs screaming, shouting, throwing pans, whatever. And you just like,
for what reason?
Cool. Yeah, chef. I gotta fucking be here because I need this job. You know. Like, whereas now kids like they come into the kitchen. If it's a shit environment, they'll be like, "Fuck you, bro. I'll go work somewhere else, or I won't do this." So
yeah, that's a big part of it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
because there used to be, do you want this job? Kind of attitude.
Yeah, for sure, man.
But now it's like, fuck, can you stay in this job?
So I found it different here because, like, when I was working in London, there's so many fucking people. It's so competitive, bro. So many people come from all around the world to come and work in London. So it is like, if you don't want this job, tomorrow someone's going to come in and he's going to want this job more than you. Yeah. And I don't really care if it's you or him working here. Someone's going to run your fucking section. So if you don't like it, fuck off, mate, you know? And
that was my apprenticeship here as well. But because we were like one of three at the time you'd kind of want to work at around the metro area.
Yeah.
And it had the staff behind them. So we would all get we'd get the best chefs from all over the world. But they would turf you.
Yeah.
And you knew it. They would be like, so you got to, but you had they had two types of apprentices. They had ones like me that would just cop shit, but actually was frothing over pedo and croute roll. That sort of shit I really wanted to know. I really wanted, how do you do it? And then get better. And then you had the other ones who were just grunts. Yeah. They were just washing the lettuce. Yeah. And they fucked up the lettuce every day. Yeah. But they were, at least you had that one person on $5 an hour washing the lettuce. Yeah. So.
Well, for them, it's just like, this is better than being at home right now.
Yeah.
You know, you do get those apprentices where it's just like, I'll do anything to not be in the house because it sucks. Like,
But I think the grunts would now get turfed straight away.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know.
Yeah.
You reckon?
Could do.
Maybe there's more time now. The opposite. More time to maybe develop it. I don't know.
I think if I was still in kitchens, I still like those broken kids.
Yeah,
they're good chefs.
Yeah.
I like
give me those broken ones.
There's a bit of trauma going on there, and you know that they want to be here because you're nicer to them than the parents or whatever.
It's like a bucking bronco for a little bit.
Yeah.
We had someone call in who was trying to break an apprentice, and we went through a whole thing.
Breaking an apprentice, But they're the most interesting people you'll meet ever.
Yeah,
for sure.
Someone who wants to, I don't know what kids are like. Have you got apprentices right now?
We haven't got any apprentices, but I definitely want one. I had a gig in Perth recently where we had an apprentice that was 17. I've not worked with a 17-year-old in a fucking long time, and he was nicknamed Hercules. And he was just a fucking beast, mate. He was covered in burns.
Oh, it wasn't ironic.
Hardcore, he was just an absolute monster. And it's the first time I've had an apprentice where I look on the roster and be like, oh yeah, today's gonna be a good day. Hercules is on a double. We're fucking in for a good one, man.
That's cool.
So they're still out there.
He's just prepping things with his fist.
Yeah, literally just smashing shit. Nothing was ever an issue for that kid. You know, you'd be like, we got 50 kilos of potatoes that need peeled, and you'd be like, yeah, chef, get involved.
I don't know if he's finessing on croute, but
yeah, definitely not yet. But he's got a long way to go, but positive looking.
Yeah, we were talking to Pero a few weeks ago, and I worked at Old Laundry over that period, over the COVID period. There was a bloke there. He was like a fourth year. Such a late fourth, get qualified, can't leave.
Yeah, 4 years. What do you do?
It was so annoying, and he had I don't want to describe him because everyone knows who he is, but I made it. Pero knew I made him cry one night, and it was that was that thing of you got to mother these guys. Yeah. It's okay, I can do that, but at some point I just threw him on the pass because I was trying to be nice. And I knew he wanted to get on the pass, and if I was there, it'd be all right. That's in my head, and it was absolute shit show.
Like a sack
he just
shit.
wanted to just take the night off. He was leaning on the fucking, and I was like. And I'm doing the cooking, which I love.
Yeah.
I love the cooking.
Still,
I would rather do that.
You got apprentice dad in there, fucking.
And I was like, just send it, dude. And he was send random shit. He'd send one plate to but I was telling him what to do to start with. And I was he's got this. And I was leaving for a bit. And then obviously, I switched into
Chef
2004 mode. And just went, you fucking motherfucker can't get off the pass. Oh, do you want me to do everything? And he was like, what? I was like, okay. There was no... It was such a switch, and I was like, "Oh, bro, I've got that in me still." It was almost embarrassing how nasty I was so quick, and then off again and go, "That is not table 12," you know. And then I already knew what was going on, and I sent it all, and then he goes, "Do you want me to?" No, dishes, leave. That was it, and I was in the cool room, and I guess he went I came in, he was like. Yeah. I was like, oh, fuck, I made this guy cry. Fuck. And I felt bad
It's heavy duty
for like 10 seconds, and then I had beer. Yeah.
I definitely see less crying in cool rooms these days than when I started out, for sure.
Yeah.
It seemed like every other day someone was in the cool room just fucking weeping. But these days, these days, it's
so
right.
like the dynamic in the kitchen you're in now, everyone's like, behind you, please. Thank you for that.
Pretty much, man. Yeah, everyone's super nice, and I think you only get the shits in the kitchen, right, when someone's not really pulling their weight, or if like you're having to like really be on them about stuff. Their prep's fucking shit. They're not labeling anything. They throw stuff in the bin, whatever. When there's like 3 adults in the kitchen and everybody wants the restaurant to do well, like you're all on top of it, you know, like no one's having to tell each other anything because everybody wants to do the fucking job. Like, and I guess that also like bleeds into the front of house, and it makes one big fucking team where everyone's just getting on. Like, I had so many services where it's like, if you got to the end of a service, you'd be pleased that nothing like went wrong. There was no bullshit, you know. There's always someone like front of house fucked up a plate going here, someone shouting at someone. Here it's just seamless, bro. I finished the end of service, I'm like, oh fuck, that was nice.
Wipe down.
Yeah, like clean down. I'm like, wow, I'm not feeling anxiety right now. I'm not feeling upset. Like,
The kitchens I've worked in that are like that were great, but I think it all came down to like everyone has to be super honest. Like if you're about to fuck something up, just say it, even at front of house or back of house,
that's
and then have the same reaction with each other. Like, okay, let's fix this together. Not like you about to fuck up. You know, not that plate sort of shit. Just go. That's this. I'm like that on the past, believe it or not. I'm like, just.
Like you're conducting an aeroplane. What are you doing there?
I just like to just pause before you fuck him.
A little nod. Nod
what you want in your head is like, I fucking told you this one. But it doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help anyone. And it's not like you don't like the person on the other side. It's just you need to get this out.
I definitely learned that after opening Lola's, because we had like a fairly brutal opening. It was fucked busy for the first couple of months, and it was like all fresh front of house team, a lot of people not super experienced in hospo. I did find myself being like, oh man, this is really testing the patience. But you do get to a point where you just say, it's not worth it. Like, I'd way rather be like the nice parent and be the good guy here and just be a bit more patient, just work it out. But it's definitely something I'm having to learn as an adult chef that was not shown to me as a younger chef, you know, because it almost seemed when I was starting out that like the more hardcore you were, the more respected you were as a chef. You know, if you were like screaming at front of house, people were like, oh yeah, don't fuck with this guy, he's a good chef.
Totally.
Whereas now I look at him and I'm like, you're a fucking child, bro. Who are you shouting at? Like, what the fuck are you doing?
It's
like,
the worst bloke, so.
Imagine in any other job, bro. Imagine Sue from accounts comes in and starts fucking screaming and berating you. You'd be like, what the fuck? Like, why did we put up with that for so long?
Just punch their computer screens.
It was a weird time. Now that we're kind of, I reckon it's a generational thing. We're just a different generation to the previous.
I would say for sure.
With maybe the internet and just the world and shit.
People are just a bit nicer.
There's just a big change. Because you care. I mean, mental health and fucking lifestyle, and people don't care so much.
But also, you know, like we sit down for staff food. I get breaks, you know, I have like 3 days off. These are all things that were just so, like, did not fucking exist in the industry before.
There's a guy out there still getting reamed by his chef.
Dude, 65 hours.
Fuck these dudes,
They're still out there too. They always contact us, But I had to adjust my own life and to get that. I had to do my own shit. I had to go, I'll be casual 3 days a week at this place and do fucking heaps of hours, but at least I'll get the 4 days off to spend time with my kid or fucking just deal with my own shit. But I think it's cool if it's coming in like that slowly. If it's slowly fast.
Well, it's sick. If
you literally have to like do it yourself. Regulate yourself towards a certain employers or something like that.
Well, I think like if you're in a city where there's fucking thousands of apprentices that are just like gunning to get up and like churning and burning, then maybe it's probably a different story. But like here in Perth, it's way easier to just nurture your staff, make sure they have a good life balance, and be like, cool, we want to keep you for the long haul, rather than like every month getting a new kid in and being like, cool, I'm going to show you how to fucking cut chives today, bro. You know, like we're going to start day one with this shit. Like,
but then they'll all be at each other's neck because they want the job. That's what it's like when I was
But it's funny how it used to be like that. It's like, if you don't cut these chives, someone else will. And then you teach that person. I had that in one big kitchen. 3 people a week would come through. I had to teach the same thing 3 times a week. And it just ruined the section. Like, what's going on?
You don't even remember the name at a point. You're just like, I don't even know who the fuck you are, or when you started working here, or who's replacing you if you're not here. But like, just get the job done, please.
Yeah, that's why we call you chef, bro.
yeah, literally.
Yeah.
No reason.
The guys used to like pull you up to say chef too when you were younger. Used to give you the shit.
For sure.
Just like, yes, what? You're like,
yeah.
fuck, cunt.
Yes, please.
Like, that was probably my main trigger. And that's what started me. Like, I still do it to this day. Every time I say yes, chef, it's just like a very like sarcastic.
Yeah.
I'll say it to my kid when she's being a dick. She'll just be like, she'll just sort of sat. I mean, she's like 12-year-old, almost 13-year-old female. So like, you can kind of. It's getting to a point where she's a bit sassy, eh?
Yeah.
So like, yes, chef.
Yeah.
You know, but that's exactly how we do it in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like, yes, chef.
Yeah, well, there's like different tones to a yes chef, right? There's like a yes chef of like, yeah, I'm with you. And then there's also like I'm biting my tongue because I don't want to fucking say something right now. It's just like a yes chef.
But if I reckon saying both those words is a fucking sass as well. Like just saying yes, chef. Yeah. Like you just go chef, or we or whatever.
Yeah, we chef.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wee chefs in our kitchen, I feel.
Yeah, I love a wee chef.
Yeah, wee chef's it's a good one.
Big fan.
Or if you nail it at the same time. So like sometimes me and Steph will get it where Blaze will call an order and we'll be like, wait, and it's like the kitchen just goes fucking silent and she's like, oh, that was a good one. We're like, yes, we fucking got it. It does, right?
Yeah, we need that drop on the soundboard. Just the perfect just 5 people saying, wait.
There are those kitchens in America, right, or wherever around that you have to all say it in unison.
Yeah, we definitely had a little bit. So when I started out in London, it was those kind of fine dining kitchens, and there was a lot of that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I worked for a guy, actually I won't name him, but he hated being called chef, so we had to call him by his first name.
Was it Jeff or anything weird like that? That'd be hilarious.
No, it was like
Steve.
But imagine everyone being like, yes, Steve, yes, Steve. Yeah, you're like the whole kitchen being like, yes, Steve, yes, Steve. No,
That's
Steve.
ridiculous.
Mid-service, but like if you slipped up and called him chef, he'd be like, what the fuck you doing?
Oh,
mate?
God.
Why?
I don't know. Like, I don't know if he thought it was like...
It's his thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It was his thing for sure. And I literally spent that whole time being like, yes, Steve, yes, Steve.
Was Steve good? Was he any good?
He's fucking awesome.
I'd throw in a Steven all the time. Steven, could you... I'd be such a dickhead. I'd be such a dickhead till I left.
Hardcore. Yeah. Well, I don't think he loved me because I was a bit of a gobshite and his whole kitchen was like fucking very clean, pristine chefs that were just like, I was coming in fucking scooping out the butter with spoons and talking shit with the other chefs. And like, no. That behaviour is not acceptable here. I definitely ate shit there for a good couple of months.
Take us through some of them, like starting out, I guess, or some of the restaurants you've worked.
Yeah, so I started out working in a hotel, actually, like a big fucking group hotel. So it was one of Soho House's venues, this old bank that they converted into. Oh man, it was awesome. Like they had a bank vault downstairs, and it was like a private members club and shit. So they had 5 or 6 different venues throughout the hotel, and as an apprentice, you basically just got pimped out to different venues throughout. Like if someone was down a chef, you'd go and work there. So I just worked in all the different restaurants, which was cool. And then from there, I finished my apprenticeship and got hooked up with this, like, you know, like you do like Young Chef of the Year or Apprentice Chef, you know, those kind of fucking bullshit competitions, whatever. My tutor was like, we're going to get you into this. And I was so fucking street. I was not into it. I was like, fuck you, bro. He was like, you're going to film this video and you're going to talk through like a signature dish, whatever. And it was awful. Like, I look back on it now, it's just like the shittest dish. But like, they obviously saw like a bit of passion or whatever in the video, so I ended up going in for this comp, and I won it, and they basically just fucking funded me to just go and stage at heaps of places and shit like that. It was awesome, bro. So
tell us the dish, dude. You can't get away with it.
Man, it was so bad, bro. So
was it was like duck pond?
Nah, so it's like,
should we guess?
Go on. It was a mystery box dish, right? So you know when they give you
what
like
year?
Fucking 15 what's this, 2018?
All right.
2018.
Yeah.
Oh, so you got a little bit of Heston going on.
So mystery box is what? You get a protein.
So it was like you just had to choose from like 15 of these ingredients basically, and they were all pretty whack. I don't even remember it being like particularly seasonal. They were like throwing all kinds of random shit in there.
Righto.
I'll give you the start out. I had leeks. That was one of my.
That's exactly what I was just thinking.
Yeah, that was my.
I was thinking leeks.
Fucking out of there.
Yeah.
Leeks. Fuck if I know. You got to be inventive, don't you? What's the criteria? You got to be.
I thought I was hot shit, and looking back on it, I'm like, fuck, that looks just gross. Like,
the only thing I can think of, like something like that would be like shit that I'd be like, ugh, would be like when you do that, when you take apart the leeks and you like julienne them, and you like crisp them all up, and it's so shit.
It looks like pubes.
You
like
actually can't eat
pubes.
Yeah, and also
it doesn't taste good.
I've had hair in my mouth before, and you're like, what the fuck? That's exactly what it feels like when you've got those. Mm-hmm. And you're like, why are we making these? Yeah. But I want a bit of that. I want a bit of like leek creamy.
It was
thing.
based off like a leek vinaigrette. I liked the dish at the time, so it was like braised leeks, but like badly braised. And then they had candy beets, which I was like, yeah, cool. Like I can slice them raw. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking.
You mean like the actual?
So you know, like the candy beets have got like the little pink rings on it.
I thought you meant they were actually candied already.
No, so they gave me these beets, and like I tried cooking them, but they lost the color. They were just like white. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna serve it raw. So I just sliced it on a mandolin. No one wants to eat fucking raw beetroot, bro. So it was like these leeks that I'd like braised down. I had these like little fucking candy beets dotted over it. It just looked like so many colours. And then there was like a black garlic ketchup, which was actually all right.
That's all right.
That was not bad.
Yeah.
Definitely put black garlic in there.
Yeah, black garlic was all right.
Can't lose.
We're probably the two. We should get sponsored by black garlic. I don't know if that's the thing.
Yeah,
black garlic.
We've said black garlic so many times on this. Yeah.
I'll just eat it. Like
we'll just send you garlic and we'll ferment it for you.
So yeah, I ended up doing that, and they sent me to like San Sebastian, and like did heaps of eating. And
San Sebastian's amazing.
Oh man, it was so sick. And obviously, like Nestle is the chocolate company. They got so much coin, so they was like, I had my own hotel room. They paid for flights. Like we were eating at sick, cool. Like 2 stars, 3 stars, and like meeting heaps of chefs and stuff. So that like probably kicked it all off for me. After that, I was like, fuck it, I want to do some hardcore shit. Like hotel was fine, but like I wanted something a little bit more.
Your first look at the other side, right?
Oh yeah,
you would have to how hard you have to work to even see that.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. So we sat down for like a chef's table at a place called Arzak, which was 3 stars. It's held 3 stars since the 80s.
Yeah, right.
And their kitchen, like sitting and having like a chef's table dinner whilst watching their kitchen was just next level. It was like, it wasn't actually, there's no shouting, there was no we chefs. It was just, it's pretty much silent.
Yeah.
Like, everybody just works seamlessly. And like, it was the first time I'd seen like older dudes in kitchens as well, because obviously I was like early 20s. All of the people working in hotels were fucking Italian dudes that have moved over, or like French guys, or whatever. Yeah, a couple Spanish guys. Like, there was no real like adults or like career hospo people. And then like we walked into this restaurant, it was just like all of these fucking big blokes in like pristine chef whites, like putting out the fucking sickest food.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, I just want to
all
get
efficient movements.
Yeah, that was it, man. Yeah.
Bunch of robots in whites, man.
Yeah. So when I got back to the UK, so I'd spent some time there, spent some time in Italy, a bit of time in France and shit, and it was all like kind of...
And no pressure as a stage, right? Like they're not saying, hey, come...
Nah, not at all. So when I got back to London, I was like, fuck, I want to work in like 1 star, or like just go somewhere cool where it's a bit hardcore. And I was like emailing people, and they were just not interested, bro. Like, just my experience was not good enough. I'd probably been like 3 years in at this stage, but like I was young, like I wasn't getting picked up at all. So I ended up like just pitching people to work for free in Starge, and it was just, I sent fucking blanket emails to all of London at the time. It was just like, I love your fucking food, let me come in there, I'll work for free, whatever. And I was living at my mum's house at the time, just fucking sleeping on the couch, bumming cigarettes off mates. So I was literally working for Star Food for like a good 6 months, man. Just like,
fucking A.
Yeah, well, I was just like, I like that at that site, like that time, I didn't want the commitment either, right? You know, when you get into a fucking kitchen, like they expect, especially those sort of fine dining ones, you're there for like a year. Yeah, and you're not going anywhere.
But they talk about it like it's life.
They
know it's a year. Yeah. But they talk about it like, you know, that's how they phrase everything.
Yeah. That's right. And like so when I was like starting, I could be like, cool, I'm here for 1 month. And they'd be like, all right, fine. You know, and you know, like, you've also got an end date. Even if it's like brutal and you're doing 70-hour weeks, you're like, 3 weeks left of this, you know, like, and I'm learning, like, I was filling notebooks at the time and just...
Yeah, you would be learning a lot more.
Oh, fuck, like, well, like, when you're, especially when you're a star, but you don't have the culture here in Australia, because I think it's against the law. You can't work for free. Well, like, if you can, it's like under the table.
Culture, hey. Yeah. People think you're ripping each other off.
That's
and
right.
Stuff.
Yeah.
People already say that about people that are getting paid. In hospital.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, imagine it's slaves.
There's definitely a culture of it back in Europe, because you do. people respect you for doing it, man. Like, people will take 5 minutes and actually show you what they're doing on their section, because
also, how the fuck are you going to do this
for free? Yeah,
like, people people have no idea. You can't just walk into like the Fat Duck, or fucking Noma, and just go, I'd like a job, please. And they go, no worries, can we sign you up for an apprenticeship on whatever it is now, $12 an hour? You're like, no, that's the only way you're going to ever see this shit and start seeing this shit.
That's right.
And you can't work at a 2-star unless you worked at a 1-star and blah, and all the way up, or rosettes or whatever.
And the more stages I was doing, like, I was just adding them onto the CV. So, like, it was getting easier and easier to get into places, because they're like, oh, he's just worked here for a couple of weeks, or he's been there, or whatever. So I ended up getting into a place in London that I fucking adored, just as a stage, with a chef called Tom Anglesey, called The Laughing Heart, and it was sick, bro. So he'd had 1 star at a pub that he'd opened, and had, like, basically turned this little spot into, like, a really cool wine bar, but just fine dining, but a bit more, no white tablecloths and bullshit, just like nice, you know, go for a glass of wine, have something to eat. And that was how I ended up working for Chef Steve. The one who wasn't taking shit.
Fucking Steve-O.
Steven.
And that was another opening, and that was just fucking relentless, mate.
But getting paid there?
Yeah, getting paid. Yeah, so he came in one night when I was working and was like to Tom, like, who the fuck's this guy? And he was like, he just works for free. And he was like, does he want to get paid at any point in his life? And I was like, fuck it. At this point, like, I was jumping trains because I couldn't pay for the fucking travel, bro. I was like literally rock bottom, but like having a sick time with it. You know, like going home broken, but just like opening notebooks and being like, fuck, man, I'm like so inspired right now. I want to cook shit, you know.
We're a weird breed, man, because it's almost like a rock and roll story.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But we're not trying to get in front of crowds or.
But it just, you know, it wasn't rock and roll at the time. It was like I was trying to avoid the ticket inspector at certain times on the trains. Yeah. So like I'd wait until like half an hour after the end of service, because I knew that they'd stop checking tickets at that time, so I could like jump. I hope TfL don't get me for this, actually. That's the London Underground.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah.
But then you're still ironing. You're still a person that irons at the same time, like every morning.
Coming in clean aprons and shit. So yeah, that was it in the UK. But I was fucking burnt out before I moved here, and then I moved to Melbourne. Someone told me that it was like, oh, you know they've got 42-hour limits on hospitality in Victoria. Like, you can't work over 42 hours. And at the time, I was doing like 70 hours a week. I was like, fuck, I'm leaving.
This is like Willy Wonka.
Yeah, I was like, that sounds awesome, right? And I'd met a couple Aussies. Aussies always seemed like fairly laid back and stuff. I was like, after being screamed at for a couple of months, I was like, actually, I could definitely go to Melbourne. That sounds like a nice break.
Was it true?
Yeah. Actually, it was sick, man. I worked
Did they give you a 42-hour limit, though?
Actually, I was casual, and I was only getting like 2 days a week. So I think I was working like fucking 12 hours or something like that.
With your resume, you couldn't get in?
Again, like, it was... I found this head chef called Eileen Horsnell, who's working at a place called Napier Quarter, which is in Fitzroy. It's like a one-hat restaurant. It's so sick. And I was, again, just like fucking emailing everyone and was like, look, do you want to give me a job? And she was like, oh, you can come and work here like 3 days a week if you want. I was like, fuck it, that will do. And to be fair, like, on casual, you can kind of get away with living on 3 days a week. Like, I was working Saturdays, Sundays, and I'd never been paid like different rates for weekends and stuff. Like, if you're back in the UK, you just work weekends and shut up. Like, totally. You get no bonuses. Like, so yeah, I was doing all right, and then COVID happened. So at that point, I was like, fuck this, I'm not going home. I'm just gonna stay in Australia and ride it out. So yeah, me and my mate, we got in the car and just dossed about for like 6 months, man.
Around Australia.
Yeah. So we drove up from Melbourne. I was fucked, man. So they basically closed the borders and were like, oh, you've got 48 hours, right? So we were in Victoria and we were like, why don't we just go to WA?
It was a movie.
Yeah, we were like, let's go.
Honestly, a movie.
Nuts.
Yeah. Man, we were pulling into places like on the way up, and like supermarkets had been like raided. So you'd go in and like, you know, there's like the toilet paper thing, bro. They were like, supermarkets were like empty, no tin cans, nothing on the shelves. Like you got like one pack of dried pasty. Like, what the fuck are we gonna eat? So we drove from Melbourne to WA in one hit. Like janked up on energy drinks, fucking ciggies, and just like
what is 2 days?
Hoping for the best. It would like we didn't stop. Like,
did you get it in 48 hours?
Yeah, we just made it.
I think we're like effort.
Yeah, we did the Nullarbor. Oh man, I remember driving the Nullarbor, and it was like 4 a.m. or something like that. And I was like, we'd just not slept. We're fucked up on V energy drinks. And I remember thinking I was in a tunnel. And I was like...
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, I was like tapping my mate. And I was like, bro, there's a fucking huge tunnel in the middle of nowhere. Like, I don't get this. And he was like, there's no tunnel, bro. There's no lights anywhere. And I was like, fuck, man, I think we've got to swap driving.
It is a mirage, though, because that is a perfectly straight road with absolutely nothing going on for hours. The same way I drove through twice through... Death Valley in the States, and it's the same thing. You get it. I wasn't even fucked up on this. I had a lot of fuel. I was all right, and even then, I was like, it's just the same. Yeah. There's like a valley, like the salt flats, and there's just mountains. Obviously, the mountains don't move like this. So they just move like that, and you're like, what the? And you get into this like weird. Out of body, weird, and you're like,
that's it, man.
And then I remember my wife every now and then just say stuff, conversation or whatever, and then it'd bring me out of it. But I remember being in that going, how far have we gone? This could be 900 miles, this could be 10 miles, but it was just because it's so dead straight. There's nothing going on. There's no life out there. There's there's little shrubby things you might see, insects.
I remember my first corner on the Nullarbor. The first turn. Yeah, and luckily I had someone coming the other way, and my face was like, "Whoa!" And they just showed past, like, "All right, you don't know what's coming, bro." Whoa!
Yeah.
But they do creep up on that road, mate. It's so fucking straight, bar the 1 or 2 corners it does have. And it's fucked.
Yeah, but I think that's where you switch off.
Yeah,
I don't know. Or maybe you've been switched off for fucking hours, and you just go, "Oh, bend."
Yeah. I was actually. I think I was eating weed or smoking weed. I had a big bag of weed for the Nullarbor. And we had a camp spot. And I was like, today's the day I feel like blazing hard. Yeah. So I blazed hard and I pulled out onto the road and the sign was like right there. It was like no turns for like 100 kilometers or whatever it is.
Yeah.
200 kilometers. I was like, perfect day.
Hand out the window. Sick.
That is so true. There's no sign. There's no positive signs, eh?
Nah. It's just said the world's longest straight road.
And it says like no. Yeah, it says like no fuel for 100 kilometers.
All warning signs.
It says you will die if you don't look at this sign. Yeah, exactly. And then it like has just random signs of like a cup of coffee. Yeah. And you're like, what?
Rest stop.
Take a rest. Yeah. Or like, you will die if you don't read this sign and take a rest.
Shitting yourself about fruit is crazy. Do I have an apple here? Like, what have I got?
Not anything illegal, just like fruit in the car.
You're eating a bag of weed like Doritos, but do you have an old banana from Queensland? Yeah.
Because they're going to fuck you up if you do.
But it's true, they will.
Yeah.
They'll be like, do you have any fruit, veggies? Actually, that was all the stops,
And fruit, veggies. Fruit fly, like, I know maybe fruit fly is a problem, but I come from Victoria. I've never been like, the fucking fruit fly.
Here it's toads too.
Oh yeah.
We don't want toads.
What do they do? Crawl up into the wheels of things?
They just live.
Yeah,
they live
smuggling themselves in.
Yeah.
Little family of toads underneath your car.
Yeah.
Fucking A.
They're like cockroaches. They'll just live anywhere.
Yeah.
All right.
Big greasy things like that.
You've got to torch your car for fruit and toads.
What if they found a toad? It was big news here a while ago. Someone found a cane toad like north in WA.
And once you got one, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, right? You're like, shit.
Well, who's that cane toad fucking? Cane toads fuck themselves.
Who's brought a cane toad? He's the cane toad lover.
A shitload of babies.
See one cane toad fucking itself, you're like, no.
We're in trouble.
Who brought it in?
We just have to just have one sugar cane stalk and just like try to slip off the border.
Over the border.
Just off the non-existent fence that's there. Just go, we're all good. It's in fucking South Australia now. We're all good. Yeah.
They were hardcore about the borders in COVID as well. It seemed like it was really serious.
My mates who live here have parents here and everything couldn't get back.
Yeah.
I was on a plane that they changed the borders while I was
you're
in
on the
air.
plane.
Yeah, my mate did that too.
Got back into WA and the copper comes on the plane and he says, all right, you're all going into lockdown for 14 days.
Oh, you did the 14 days?
Yeah, I did it twice.
Oh, that's fucking brutal, man.
My mate did the same trip. Same thing happened to him. He did 40 days total in a row with a plane trip. So he thought he was like, he did 14, but they changed it. So he had to do like 8 more, some random number.
Yeah.
Got on a plane. Thought obviously euphoric. I can actually talk to humans, right?
Yeah.
And then when they landed, exactly the same thing happened. Might have been in the same week.
Yeah.
And then they were like, what? And everyone was like, I'm going to commit suicide. Like 100%, I don't want this shit. And then they tried to do people that just wanted to, like, the door was open at the back of this hotel you're making me stay at. And they're doing them for, like, criminal mischief.
I got caught.
Yeah.
I didn't take it seriously. Yeah. The 14 days. And
why would you? What chef in their right mind?
I would have been out of there. Seriously?
I was like, no way. So I actually went out to get firewood. Because I got I think it was winter, and I was like,
random one to get caught for.
Just set yourself tasks like firewood. All right,
in the balaclava, blacked out.
I need 680 mils of like red cordial.
For fucking 15 years by then. I'm like, fucking A. Like, and then so I went out.
There are no rules.
I went out and got a coffee and some firewood, and then I come back and the police are at the front of my door. So it was a bit
Did you have firewood?
Yeah, in the car, and a coffee. So good. So I hid the coffee because I was like, well, that's like infecting other people.
You're not allowed.
Fucking whatever.
You're not allowed.
Dude, I was just on a plane.
And
I come out and I was like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, what are you doing? And we just had a what are you doing standoff.
This is my house.
What are you doing? And they're like, you can't leave your house. I was like, what? Why not?
Bullshit.
And they're like, you're in lockdown. I was like, yeah, but like, I know. I just went for a walk and we just had this whole thing.
Yeah. So, but there was no one around me because everyone's on lockdown.
Yeah. Well, I did this, and I did that. Well, where have you been? Oh, nowhere.
It's like, where have you been? Can you step back from me, please?
Yeah. And you could do it at that stage if they didn't have a mask on. That was like they gave you the one up. If you were a member of the public, be like, actually, you got to take a fucking step back.
Yeah. Please don't approach me. I feel unsafe.
Yeah.
There's a $1,000
you were a
firewood.
threat.
Yeah. They fine you?
$1,014 because I actually did buy the firewood as well.
Oh fuck. At least you're warm though. Could have been worse.
I just didn't give a fuck. Like $1,000 is a lot of money, but. Just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Like, whatever.
Man. We kept getting pulled over because I didn't have anywhere to live at the time. So we'd got into WA and we were like, oh yeah, we'll find jobs and shit like that. And then they closed everything in like Perth. They shut down all the interstate borders and stuff. So we were just living in my car for like a good couple of months, man. Yeah. And just every time we get pulled over, they'll be like, where's your fixed address? I haven't got one. They're like, you got to go home. I'm like, what do you mean home? They're like, go back to England. I'm fucking Australian, bro. I've got an Aussie passport. I just don't have anywhere to live right now, bro. I don't know what to say. Like,
this is fucking crazy, eh?
Yeah, lived in
you made this
National
my problem
for a hot minute.
Yeah.
Well, but it's a random person telling you that you've got to go home at the end of the day. Hey, you've got to go home. Yeah. Like, what? You're talking about?
This is my home. I live in the rooftop tent, all right? Leave me alone.
Yeah. But like they're making it your problem. It wasn't your problem till they made it your problem. You're like, well, okay, now I've got a problem, but I don't. How do you solve this?
Yeah.
Can you? That's fine. Just give me $800,000.
Yeah.
And I'll go anywhere you want me to go.
Yeah. Have you got a spare room?
Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Can I kip in your basement? Because at this stage I'm fucked.
No one's helped because they didn't know how to help either. They didn't know like the rules are changing on those guys too.
Oh yeah, every day, man.
How do they know what to police? What a nightmare.
I'm glad we've seen the end of that.
This bloke with firewood.
Bro. Hopefully we've seen the end of that dumb shit.
Yeah, fuck. I think everyone's learnt their lesson, surely.
Yeah. I don't want to put up with that shit anymore. I remember there was a point where they were saying you couldn't work in hospitality unless you had your second jab, and you had to get proof of it as well. So like everybody who was working in kitchens had to get, and like bro, how many chefs are just like, I don't want to fucking do that. It's like, well, you have to if you want to go to work, mate. Like,
well, I don't want to go to work. All right, that solves that. Yeah. So like path of least resistance as well. It's like, well, you're already giving me money.
Yeah.
I can live off. I mean,
doing nothing.
I thought hospitality people would have like, been the first people to tell them to fuck off.
Yeah. It was like pilots. Pilots for ages were like, fuck you guys, we're not doing it. But now, who gives a fuck? Like, no one's ever checked my jabs or any of my COVID shit. Like,
but people get COVID and you're like, I had COVID.
Yeah, like,
it's not like end of the world.
I used to go like one of the first places to do here with the actual check-ins. They had their own check-in. Something was AV Australian Vinny Co.
Yeah,
and everyone would have got up in arms about it. You can't go there if you haven't got jabs. It's like I used to walk in there and go, hey. Just like, and then they'd say on the bar, have you got your, did you fill in the thing with, it was like, yep. And they're like, yes, sweet, what do you want? That's it. That's all I ever got. And I like that feeling of like, I can still go anywhere, you cunts. Like I can fucking go anywhere I want. But obviously the people at the venues, I probably shouldn't shit on them. I probably shouldn't say their name. But
they were doing their job.
Yeah, but like they would, exactly,
Maybe a bit too good.
Yeah. But like they were trying to keep their staff safe in their eyes, right? They didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
So that was their aim. They were losing so much business doing it.
Oh, man,
but it was like I guess I actually think it was kind of in the context of what was happening that week was probably a good decision. Like everyone was saying everyone is about to die if you don't do this. And they just went, all right, fuck it, we'll just blanket do it. And then
definitely seemed fucked for a hot minute there.
Yeah,
I was a bit concerned.
But like a one-off small business,
pretty nicely.
That's why I pulled out all my superannuation. I was like, I'm going down with a bang.
Yes,
dude, you're gonna give me some money?
Had fucking a fat party.
End of the world. You idiots.
Yeah.
I can't believe no one did it. I was like, fucking A.
If they give you the option, then why not, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm
totally.
At that point, my superannuation was like $86, bro.
Yeah.
I'd literally just arrived. It was like, I got nothing,
Mine was about that as well. Like, I've never been paid super. So I was like, I'll take it.
I got
like, it's not compounding. So.
I got two people that are kind of at hospo that I'm like trying to get super out of currently. And that's, they're shit. So I'd have a super.
Squeeze people for it.
You gotta threaten them too. That's not really my style. Because I'm like, can you just give me my fucking money? That's about my limit. But you know, like you owe me. I can prove it. There's paperwork. And then they're like, when did you work here? This sort of shit. And you're like, I'll just ring the ATO.
Yeah.
And then you have to be so violent with it. You have to be like, I don't care what you say. And it's more because the person you're talking to on the phone or email or whatever is not. It's not their problem either.
No, they don't give a fuck.
And they're not being harsh to you. They're just doing their job.
Yeah.
So I think that's my weakness. Yeah. And when I just go, you know what? I just want my fucking money. And like, who do I have to fucking talk to? Just get full like, like it's a gangster movie.
Where's my money, man?
Yeah. And then just ring him every day and go, it's Lachie, where's my fucking money? It's like every day. Maybe I'll just do that.
You should.
Or just name and shame him on the podcast.
Annoying.
Yeah, just drop him in it.
Yeah, Simon Johnson.
1,000 regular people will be like, fuck that person. Chef stories. Let's have a go.
Should we do that?
All right, boys, I've got a tale for you.
Chef Hotline. So tell us a story.
Probably one of the worst shifts I'd ever had.
Dude, that is fucking hilarious.
Blowjob and by the trash can.
On speakpipe.com/no crying in the coolroom.
Didn't even think people wanted to be anonymous, but that makes a lot of sense.
The Chef Hotline, that's what we're calling it. Fuck. That intro gets longer.
That's a fucking solid soundboard.
Hey.
Speakpipe.com/no crying in the coolroom. Let's get right into it. Let's go straight to rootsy, eh?
Really?
Yep. Sorry.
G'day, Lachie, Tim.
Lachie then, Tim.
Ruda here. Nicknames. Have you ever had any in the kitchen? And if so, what were they? I've had a few.
Just Rootsy?
Rootsy, my last name's Roots, so,
Rooster?
I've got Rootsy all my life. Ruda, it's actually my preferred nickname, but that one never really caught on.
I call
a few people call me that. Wombat eats roots leaves, obviously.
That's
Shags.
technical.
And I also got called Drop Dead Fred because one night in a Freo pub, I passed out 3 times over the course of the night. We were watching a band called Cinema Prague. And the final time I passed out, I actually passed out and hit the mixing board for the band, and fucking the music stopped, and I got escorted out very quickly. But yeah, nicknames in the kitchen. What are they?
Fucking hell!
I met him on Friday.
Oh, really?
He was at a comedy show.
That's actually a really good bit of him falling on the sandboard. Like, what happened then? Yeah. Talk about that.
Yeah.
What do you call him? Rootsy?
I would call him Ruda.
Ruda's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, I like calling him
that's
Ruda.
a solid,
and
man.
Roosters pretty cool.
Yeah, Rooster's nice.
Well, that's what we were all call him.
Never.
It's like we called him all those nicknames before we realised, it's Ruda. Well, it's Rootsy because your last name's Roots.
And he'd always fade off. I don't know how many episodes you listen to, but he comes up pretty regularly.
Yeah.
He always faded off.
Yeah, fuck him, we're not calling your name.
We had a guy who had the most brutal nickname. Poor fella was called Tripod. But because one of the other chefs walked into the disabled toilet and he was squatting on top of the toilet, like, I don't know, he was like, he had his feet on the dunny seat.
Cultural thing, or?
He was English, but I think he was like before his time.
It's not a cultural thing.
He was just before his time, man.
It's like Singaporean airport, you
live in Fremantle, there's a lot of like footstools in the toilet. This guy. And then one of the chefs came back.
Every back of venue in Freo is a toilet.
He came back and he told the rest of us, and he fucking Tripod every time.
So tripod is a nickname for someone that has like a massive cock.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And like when they give a nickname, you're like, who is giving you that nickname, number one? Because if you have just a massive flaccid rod, you're going to show people.
That was my immediate assumption when you said tripod. I was like,
I mean, that's a nice nickname. No, it was the fact that he had his 2 legs.
But it looked like a tripod. So that's actually funny. Yeah.
And he was a nice guy from what I remember. Like he was like a nice guy. He couldn't stick up for himself. So he copped it for a long time until he left. I think he quit chefing forever.
I wonder if he still goes by tripod.
I don't think he ever told anyone ever again.
Job interviews.
I think tripod. He fucked
off. We had a bloke who, this has nothing to do with nicknames, it just reminded me of the story of he used to iron his shirt on the venues. You know how you have like a male toilet, female toilet, disabled, and then sometimes you have like a parent's room or mum's room or something.
For like changing nappies.
Yeah, it has like a change table and a toilet, but a change table as well. So he used to lock the door and iron his stuff in there, either before a shift or after a shift. Anyway, whatever. I didn't even know this even happened. No one knew. But I walked into him once because you're like, fucking, I can't, like it's staff toilet. It's a venue toilet, so you don't want to look like a chef walking it. So it's like, I'll fucking use the one.
You can't do that. There's always a separation, isn't there? You're not allowed in the customer's toilet.
I think that's fair. Yeah. I don't want that.
Yeah, that's true. But like, it was like, there was something, whatever reason, I had to go around there, like, even though I felt shit doing it. And I was like, knock, like nothing. There was no words. But what had happened, he was like,
oh, he knew he'd been caught.
No, but he didn't locked it. So I went, and then pushed it in. And he just had an iron. And then I was like, where the fuck are you getting an iron from? That was my first comment. Like, I didn't even care that he was ironing his jackets on like a fucking change table. Just a fold down change table. Anyway, that's what I thought. But I didn't think he had a nickname.
So that's the only person you've surprised in a toilet?
It was like a small German guy. It was like full Hitler Youth looking. Like he had like the white hair and just the
mustache.
Perfectly ironed chef white every time.
He needed to have this iron shirt.
What nicknames you got, man?
Actually, I was nicknamed
Drew Dog.
No, my old email address was droopdog@hotmail.com. I went by that for a long time.
Droop.
Yeah, but
like 00?
Yeah, 00. Yeah, well, like Snoop Dogg, bro. I thought it was cool as shit.
I was still thinking. I'm still thinking your name is Drew.
No, I went by Droop Dog, aged 10 to like 13, maybe.
Yeah,
that's a banger.
I had a kitchen nickname. My first week of my apprenticeship. Fucking awful. I got given a bag of chocolate sauce to vac pack, but I'd never vac packed anything. I never got like an intro on it, anything like that. Vac pack exploded. So obviously, as the machines opened, it covered me in chocolate, and I was poo faced for the first 3 weeks. Poo face. Yeah,
poo face.
Yeah, poo face. Yeah,
uninventive,
but. Fair enough, I had
you can't
shit
miss
all
an
over my
opportunity
face.
like that, can you?
You can't. Especially when it's The Apprentice, right? Everyone loves it.
Every time the Apprentice get chocolate on the face.
Fucking frequent, man. It's always like purees or like sauces. Apprentice has always got like fucking random stains on the shoulder or something.
I don't remember any nicknames I've ever had. Maybe they're just so traumatic. I can't remember.
Block them out.
This is normally what happens.
I don't think I had many either.
People would definitely try. I remember that. Like people would, but nothing would ever stick. Perhaps.
Yeah, like nothing like.
But Lockie's kind of just like a nickname. Lockie. Yeah. It's also I've found it's a good name to yell. Yeah. People love yelling at Lockie, and you're like, fuck's sake.
Yeah.
My name's not long enough to shorten, so Drew is just always Drew.
Yeah.
So there's nothing.
That's why I got to add stuff to it.
Yeah.
Cunt.
Yeah.
Just get called that a bit. My first chef used to call me cunt, but it was like he started doing this gag with me where like he knew that I gave a fuck. Yeah. So he'd come up with me and goes, "Did you call me a cunt?" And I would react "Oh no." So but he would laugh like, got ya. So I remember him calling me cunt, but it was like very. It was like tongue in cheek. It wasn't like you're a cunt.
Yeah.
So maybe that's probably the closest I can think of.
I called my sous chef a cunt once.
How did that go?
Oh, totally.
He hated it.
Really?
But he was a fucking arsehole.
Was he a C? Was he a massive C?
Yeah, he was a massive cunt.
I had a chef that I hate. In fact, you can definitely dish out nicknames on chefs that you hate just to fuck with them. I had a chef called Tim that I used to work with, and I used to call him Timmy, and he fucking hated that. You'd be like, "Oh yeah, Timmy's got it," and all the other chefs started picking up on Timmy. Yeah, he just became Timmy Chef Timmy.
I had to get over any of that. Yeah, lost any of those things.
Actually, I do that online now. No, just like if there's someone's like, there's a bloke called Don, and I just call him Donnie.
Yeah.
But I know he hates it.
Yeah. He's sitting there going, what the
But that's all you need to do, right? You need to say, bah! You need to just go, yeah, all right, like, sit down, Donnie.
Yeah. Or like
but it is a very, like, I guess it's an adult way of being a bully. I don't know. I don't know. You know. I don't know.
I always feel like really cunted off when people do like a buddy or a pal.
Yes.
That one's a hit. That's like
Bud.
If
someone says bud to me.
Yeah. Or like
what is that?
Full buddy is like, oh my god, I'm age 7 again. You know, like hey buddy, and you're like oh, you know, bro, like reps. I hate when reps come in and they'll be like, hey buddy, how are you? Hey pal, how are
King.
you? Yeah, fuck off, mate. Like, just leave it at chef or Drew. That's it, easy. I don't mind. But buddy and pal, I've never had someone say it in a genuinely nice way. You know, it's
I say it to my 10-year-old son.
It's very fake.
Fair enough, right? You know, when they're that big, it's
exactly.
all right,
Until they outgrow buddy.
Yeah. Then you move into pal, and then it's like then they finally have worked their way out of those two. You know,
and then they get a job in the kitchen, something called revert to bud.
Yeah.
Hey bud. Hey buddy. Yeah, fuck that shit. Oh man, I vividly remember that now.
Yeah.
But it's so fake. Surely they don't talk like that around their normal life, in their normal life.
I don't
Surely
know.
it's like a nervous...
Maybe they're condescending to everybody.
They always put it down to like that's a nervous thing walking into a kitchen and saying. But then again, you do it hundreds of times. You're fine with that.
And how often is it that you get a rep that like within a minute of him being there tells you that he used to be a chef?
Yeah.
I get that all the fucking
Every
time.
rep lies about everything. Any sales rep in honesty, that doesn't go into the same sentence.
Sam was so cool.
And they're always going, hey buddy, you know I used to be a chef, and then they open with the other shit. Do you want to see our catalogue for Japanese shit this week? And you're like, no, not really.
I know you used to be a chef and you couldn't hack it, and now you're a fucking bum.
And they're trying to scam me on fucking bottles of olive oil.
Give me the best price or fuck off.
Yeah.
I used to do I was a rep for a while.
Yeah.
And I used to tell you one thing, as in the chef one thing, as in like the brutal, honest bullshit.
Yeah.
And not to be a good guy, just because you can't do that all day.
Yeah.
We can't do it. The first stop you're at, you're like, okay, I've got this.
You put it on a front.
You don't sell shit. And then the next city you go, do you want olive oil? Because it's the same shit. But like if you buy it from there and you get a fucking credit, you can start an account with them, you can get this other shit cheaper, and that'll be so you sort of work like a chef with them, right?
Yeah.
If you start going like, hey bud, how are you? You know, I used to be a chef, and that can of tomato you got up there, you're like, it's tomato paste, bro.
Yeah. Or I wouldn't have used that back in the day, and you're like, you don't work.
But then you go back, you go back to your job, your sales job with the owners or whatever, and you just go, we fucked him on this, we fucked him on that, and then you just start, and you're like, oh my god, I've got these two lives, where I'm like, I definitely told him that, I definitely pitched him on the shit he never needs. I knew he didn't want. Half the time I never went into these places either. I would just lie to them. So I was doing more lying to. I'd be like, did you go to the new
smoke and mirrors?
Every new hotel that used to open, all the fucking actually any venue that opens, you see the reps go in. They swarm.
Oh, that's it.
They have these stupid pieces of paper that you're supposed to carry, and no one looks at it.
Business cards.
It's like I've worked other places. I know how to.
Yeah.
And you already kind of know your menu. It's not like they're affecting anything. Unless they've got something random, they say. And you're like, oh, that might be all right.
Yeah.
Or do you know you can get this specific type of like mustard or something like that?
I kind of like the Italian ones because they're a bit of a fuck about, but it's almost like mafia dealings, you know. Like there's lots of like under the table shit going on. Like, they always bring you bottles of wine at Christmas time. Like shit's just come straight off a boat, or we got a shipment of this in cheap. Like kind of fuck with that. It's just the Aussie buddy pal. You know, I'm only 28. They come in, they're much older than me, and they're like, I'm gonna squeeze this guy for some cash. And I'm like, fuck no, you're not, bro.
It's also being talked to while you're working.
It's like chopping shit, and they like come and stand. Oh, what you doing there? Like, your business, mate. Get the fuck out.
Get out of the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I can't remember any. Oh, we had good cheese wrap. I remember that when I was here in Perth.
Calendar.
The
Calendar's so sick, bro.
Yeah, that's who I used to work for. That's who I used to do that.
Oh, true.
Yeah,
that's a good company. Yeah. I feel like they don't. Of all the people who are fucking you over, they're not fucking you over. Calendar good guys.
Yeah, they owe me super, but other than
they actually fucking.
But the job was wicked. The job was really cool, and I like cheese.
Yeah.
And I like any of that.
Yeah.
Any and all of that, and like even just the side of how you procure it from all these places and get it here, you're very involved in that process.
And you do heaps of tastings and stuff
fucking
like that.
Sick, yeah. But you can do tastings anytime you want.
Really, yeah.
You can just taste it.
That's pretty sick.
Chop it.
But like you go around to restaurants and like before they buy the cheese, they're always going to try some of it, right? Like,
yeah, and you got a lot of freedom to do it. Even if you can fake it too. Like you just, I'll just do it for you or whatever. You can just do it.
Yeah.
They give you that bit of freedom. You get in trouble, who gives a fuck? Yeah.
Yeah.
You lose your job over it.
We found out that Lachie was my cheese rep or our cheese rep.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Small world.
Yeah.
6 months before I
yeah, we did too with Stewie.
Yeah.
He was like,
6 months
this is the
before
guy that used to come around.
on my way out of the industry.
Yeah.
On my last stop where
So you've crossed paths before?
Supposedly. We didn't know it though.
Yeah,
but definitely 100% he was the cheese rep while I was working at this restaurant.
Yeah.
Which is just random.
I feel like you would have been an awesome cheese rep, bro.
Yeah.
I would have done a cheese.
I would have given you so many free truffles and charged them to
He would have
Rockpool.
been awesome, but every time he left, I'd be like, does that guy like me? I don't know.
Yeah, does he like me? And did he
But now I want
sell me anything?
Now I want his approval. I'm like, I'll get him next time.
Yeah. Love that cheese you gave me, man.
Bro, whatever you've got, I'll take it.
It's fun to like sell arsehole chefs on stuff, and that's like that's full circle.
Yeah.
That's like, I know you're a cunt.
Yeah.
You're a piece of shit,
And I'm going to get you.
and I'm going to get you right now.
For every apprentice out there that is hating working for you,
Yeah.
I'm going to fuck you now.
I think was it last week we were talking about this, about like seeing chefs like talk shit about. Oh no, they would deliberately talk shit in front of you to like apprentice, like they would belittle people in front of you just to because they have an audience now.
Yeah.
So like, and then you're like,
someone comes into the
no,
kitchen.
it was
You never guess what this fucker did today.
it was a bloke I was selling truffles to at was Rockpool back in the day.
Yeah.
Not the good guys there. And he would deliberately do that, and I knew it was deliberate. He didn't know he used to be a chef. I didn't start out saying that shit.
Yeah.
And then he'd fake smell them like he knew what he was doing. I'd always sell him the old ones because I knew what he was looking for. And I just bought like fucking 8-day-old truffles for like the highest price in Perth.
Yeah.
Paying.
And he's like, wow, these smell
and that's
so
why
aromatic.
that's why we're paying the highest price. You used to always say that because of the service.
Yeah, like it's
Jesus
your cash
Christ,
that you're spending, big lad. Fuck
Meanwhile, like Pero at Old Laundry, he would get the best ones that would last the longest.
Yeah,
that would actually be more fragrant.
Yeah.
And I would honestly go there 3 times a week if I wanted.
Yeah.
Just I don't
Just
give a
have
fuck.
a yarn.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But that's
Give him the C-list shit. Yeah.
But like, I used to like fucking with people like that. And just like, oh, you don't want that. That's cool.
Definitely a good comeback for any arsehole chefs out there.
Yeah.
You can see it in the car on the way out. Sucker.
He used to pay like, oh fuck. I'm definitely not getting in trouble about this now. But he used to pay like $1,000 a kilo more some days.
Oh fuck!
And I'd show him that because you could do it on your phone because he wanted the invoice emailed to whatever. Also, there was like a intense because they're at Crown. It's like you just got to send it to this and this.
Yeah. They got like a procurement department.
Yeah, and they pay it anyway. So it's like, but you got to show him the invoice. So you do the whole like I'm dyslexic shit. So if it's like 2319, it's 3219 all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And you're just like that, and he's like, of course, mate. And you're like, fucking dickhead. Like, in my head, I'm like, you fucking dickhead.
Yeah.
You absolutely got rip-rolled by this.
Yeah.
Which meant, and then in my head, I'm like, that's 400 grams of truffles that we now have on hand for free.
Yeah. That you can just divvy out.
But that's
all
like
the
a
nice
10-second
guys.
thing.
Yeah,
And you're like,
yeah.
Yep. We're still making more money, actually, doing it like that. Because, I mean, you will charge somebody at some point just a bit less, right?
Yeah.
And farmers are making more money.
It's so funny you thought you had clout because you work for a restaurant with a big budget. That's just so lame.
Yeah.
It's like Steve, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Steven.
We are just egotistical fucks.
Yeah, I know.
Cooking shit.
It's definitely a different breed, eh? That's what I love about this podcast, because I was listening to it, I was like, actually, someone is finally highlighting that we're all just freaks.
Yeah.
Well, that was a lot of, that's a lot what we bonded over.
It's like acceptable too. Like you're all different types of freaks.
Yeah.
Like I like the ones that were could have gung ho and got the job done, but were kind of nice when the day ended and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then,
it's like a ragtag group of people. I've never
totally.
I've never walked into a kitchen and been like, oh yeah, these are all functioning humans.
It's
always like, oh yeah, he's got fucking this kind of problem, or he's got switch on this.
Everyone's got a problem.
That's something going on. Yeah.
The real world was weird when I got into it because
civilian life.
People are pretending like they're not fucked up, or they're like,
the whole thing's fake. You're like, what the fuck? It's like a movie, right?
Or they're unaccepting of someone who's a bit fucked. It's like, no, he's a good dude. He's just like, he's a bit fucked.
Like, no, or even he's like, he's running your whole company and he has a limp. Like that was it, and they're like, this dickhead. You're like, what?
Well, it's like if you come into a kitchen and you're like, you take the piss out yourself, you're a bit fun with it, like you'll fit in straight away. Like if you're coming in and like trying to hide all your fucking bad bits, like we're gonna work them out pretty soon. Totally. Bro. If you've got an alcohol problem, I'm gonna sniff it out, bro. Like,
I walk in and say it. I have an alcohol problem. Just get to my day.
If I'm shaking this morning, you know why. Leave me alone.
We're very accepting. I think of it, which I enjoyed thoroughly as a person.
It's I definitely love that about being in a kitchen. I mean, Newron's fairly regular, to be fair, but my previous kitchens have all been fucking heaps of fuckheads, which I love. Well, it keeps things interesting.
Who's this?
Ben in Chicago.
Sorry.
Ben in Chicago.
Ben in Chicago.
Ben in Chicago.
So you had a guest. No, not a guest. You had a fucking call in. Somebody who was talking about cracking open a bunch of champagne and wine that was left over after their service, and that was a benefit for the staff, right? I worked at a wine bar here in Chicago where we had 24 wines on the menu that were served by the glass, right? Which is unusual for a restaurant. You don't want to have that many that are just open all the time, right? So the rule at this place was they would label and date every time they opened a bottle. So the bottle would be opened for the glass list and it would get labeled and dated. It would go into a cooler or however they stored it best, right? After 4 days, those were garbage. So some of those bottles we incorporated into the menu. We had pan sauces and whatever. The rest of those bottles of wine became what they colloquially called bad milk. I used to be a huge drinker. I was known to take home so many of those that they called me the bad milkman. And would in fact put bottles into a literal milk crate for me to take them home. So it was not unusual for me on a regular night to go home with 12 bottles of wine that each had between a third and 2/3 full.
It's good shit too.
Not my proudest moments, not the best time that I spent in my life, but I was the bad milkman.
That's a good nickname.
Exactly what I was going to say.
Bad milkman.
The bad milkman. Not the bad milkman again.
Why the hell is no one else drinking? How the fuck is Ben getting 12 bottles?
Maybe Ben was just bodying you. It's like, is that bad milk?
Is
that bad milk? That's my.
You know that goes in my crate. You guys don't drink that shit.
Fucking A. That's a lot of wine.
That's a lot of piss, man.
Yeah.
Parties at his house would be awesome.
One joint I worked at, this is just a stealing story now I'm talking about. But I used to say I was going to take home you'd have endless buckets of everything after a while. You'd have salt buckets, you'd have a big bucket, So the salt buckets, I was like, I'm going to take them home for, I can't remember what I was talking about now. Like, I can't remember what I was lying that I wanted the buckets for at home. But then they'd give me like 8 buckets and then I'd put the bucket full of whatever it was on top and I'd be able to walk out of the venue.
Nice.
Like a whole bucket of olives or a whole bucket of sea salt or something like that.
Yeah. He's probably still eating those olives now.
Yeah. But that was like you do a full day and you're so tired and you're so worked, but you're still like, I was still like scheming.
Yeah.
Like you had to have your own hustle or your own, but he was probably just I can only assume. I was like, well, at least, was that bad milk? Or was that, what did he say? What did he call it?
Or you're probably starting to eye off bottles where it's like, that one's closed.
That's what I mean, but it's like that's your thing. You're like, you got something that's for you. Yeah.
It took me a while to get out of the stealing habit, I tell you that.
Yeah.
Only stealing from employers, never from shops or anything.
Yeah.
If it's a big venue,
What's the worst thing you've stolen, Drew?
Oh, man. Definitely the bigger venues. Fucking high value goods, mate. It's got to be vanilla, saffron. You got to fill your boots with shit like that.
Yeah.
I feel like a ramekin is just like a classic. My house is filled up with fucking random.
I still got ramekins. Everything I've still got ramekins. Like the rice, I've got it in every flour and sugar thing. I've got a ramekin.
Yeah.
Like
a scoop.
Who's ever bought ramekins? Yeah.
Well, I've never got any equipment or anything like that.
Yeah.
I've never been swift enough. But I think vanilla's a good one. Saffron.
Yes.
No one's noticing that.
To
shit,
cook at home and enjoy for yourself.
To be honest, I don't even know if I even used it. It's just like
I was going to say
I'm on my way out, so I'm taking your vanilla, and I'm not a pastry chef, so it's probably just gonna sit in my fridge for fucking 6 weeks. But I know that I got the vanilla. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as you're out, start stealing everything. It's ridiculous.
Also, those ones are real easy because they're so small. But it is. You're right. It's like a worth thing.
I love it.
I saw something that was worth something.
Hisco tea towels are fucking sick, man.
Sure. There's a few floating around.
And also like Hisco don't give a fuck. So like a few of those goes missing, it's fine, man.
I got one of the Hisco bags that you put them in. Even the big,
cool,
big green ones.
Doing your own laundry. Yeah, nice.
I just need the rack to put it up.
I stole a whole dehydrator once.
It took me so many weeks.
Fucking good. That's just solid, man. That would come in handy.
I backed my van up to a venue once.
Just unloading shit out.
Loading it in.
Yeah.
Those motherfuckers tried to fuck me.
There's so many. So many things. Do you still do pop-ups?
Yeah. So I started off license about a year and a half ago when I was. It was like the interim period between Peggy's and opening of Lola's. Yeah. So I just wanted something for like a bit of a creative outlet. But
what made you call it off license? Such a sick name.
So off license in the UK, so you can buy booze, smokes, snacks, and they're open pretty much 24 hours, and they're kind of like a community hub. So like that's where all the kids fucking hang out, buy sweets, smoke joints, whatever. I don't know. Like it depends what neighborhood you're in or whatever. So for me, an off license was like a whole community thing. It was like where everyone wanted to go and like buy their booze, get some snacks and shit.
It's like the old delis here that don't exist.
That's it. Yeah. So like when I started the pop up, I was looking for names for fucking ages, man. But like, you know, when you go through it and you're choosing different languages and stuff like that, and I was like, bro, I don't want to just be Italian food or French food. I don't want to do something English. Like, the only thing that I could think of was I want to be like an off license. You know, I want to be somewhere where people just come, get fucked up, or like buy their booze, eat some food and shit. So it just started from that, and then it was like kind of off license, like I'm off my license of work, so I can kind of do whatever the fuck I want now. The more I did it, it just, I don't know, it just kind of set, man.
I think the name finds you. Like same with our podcast name. We heard this, we came up with it, but then there was so many, and we still, whatever. Yeah. And then it just happened. And then there was a bunch of things like that afterwards. We were like, this is just, I think it finds you more than the other. Yeah. But I was just, when I saw that name the very first time, I don't know you, and then I was like, fuck, that's a sick name for what you're doing. I was pretty pleased with it. One of my good mates is a graphic designer as well, and he was just like, roll with that. And I was like, really? And he was like, no, roll with it. It's going to work. And I was like, okay, sick. So they started off pretty small, and then have just grown, man. Like it just got busier and busier. What was your last one?
Last one was a Beaky wine bar. Yeah, I was doing pies. Yeah. You like that? I think that's what I like about the pop-up is like, I did a season where I was cooking pasta, and then I was like, fuck, rolling pasta for 150 people. I'm going to do something a little bit different or and kind of try what I want. And like, whereas I'm not a restaurant, nobody has any expectations of what they think I have to cook. Like, I cook whatever the fuck I want, man.
It's fucking cool.
So yeah, it's been good, man. The first one I did was fucked, bro, because I'd never done a pop-up over here. And the kid who was meant to cook with me, he ended up getting COVID, like we were talking about. So he was like, I can't help you out. So I was like, fuck, I'm on my own. I only had like maybe 15, 20 portions of each pasta anyway, so it wasn't like I had a heap, but I had to rope in my old head chef, or like Harry, who owns Peggy's and Lola's, and I was like, please just fucking help me, bro. Like, you're gonna have to go on the pans, I'll do the pass. And we got absolutely smoked, man. Like I thought it was just gonna be quiet, and it ended up like patio just filled out. We got rolled for all of the portions and stuff, and I was like, fuck, we're gonna have to bulk up and do this again. So
what venue do you do them in?
At Patio in Freo. Okay. Yeah, so they just opened when I did, or like not long before I did my first one, and I went in there one night and I was like, you guys hiring for chefs? Like, I'd love some casual shifts, because I was working at Peggy's and just doing days and stuff. So I was like, they were like, no, we're not hiring chefs, but if you want to do a pop-up, you can do a pop-up. And I was like, fuck it, all right, why not? Let's do this. Cool. And then they've just taken off, man. I've done heaps of different venues, tried different formats, some set menus, some a la carte shit. Just like, if I want to sharpen something up, then I'll just be like, cool, we're going to do it as a pop-up. So like the pasta one was just because I hadn't rolled pasta since I'd been living in Italy, and I was like, could definitely do with doing a bit of that again. And my apprentice at the time was like, I want to learn how to roll pasta. So I was like, wicked. Sick, perfect. You can come, I'll teach you how to roll pasta. You can help me make all of these portions. And then, that's been it, man.
You don't have to give away money, but like, you make money at it?
I'm doing pretty all right. Yeah.
Because that's good for a chef. Like, if chefs can know that they can go out there and actually do something like this.
Fuck yeah, man. I as a chef, like, more
especially choose what you want to do like that.
Yeah, that's it. It's
choose
a creative freedom,
yes or
right?
no.
Like,
yeah.
If you're a chef and you're working under an exec or someone else and they're putting you in the barriers of, right, this is what I need from you, this is what you want to do. Like, man, I don't even really think about the costings on some stuff. You know, I cook with whatever proteins I want. Like, if it looks like an event that I'm going to make cash, great. And if it's an event that I'm not really making much, it's still good publicity, man. It's a bit of fun. Like, I love cooking, especially down in 308s, man. People are so fucking supportive, bro. I get people all the time come to me and be like, oh, I ate there like the other week. It was fucking sick. Like, thanks for cooking.
So that's very cool. Advertising, like, if someone wants to start a pop-up, do they have to get into all the advertising themselves?
I started out doing everything myself, man. Yeah, because, like, I had no cash or anything. Like, there's no backing. So I was just like, started out doing a bit of the graphics work, then a mate of mine was helping out, and then I was paying him graphic design, then like another mate of mine's a photographer, so I was like, sweet, I'll pay you to come and fucking do some stuff at the event. So depends what you want out of it, man. Like, I think mine was just like a creative outlet, and it will probably evolve into a venue at some point in the future, which is like happy days when you're doing a podcast, right? But I think Perth's got a lot of chefs that are jumping in and doing these kind of things. Like, Once a While has like residencies that they change fairly frequent, and
I think it's a really cool way of just showcasing shit as well. But also, people want to see that. I found the public want to see that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
like, you know, they're kind of into the sort of the new sparkly thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they want to go like, oh, this is cool for the one day, or for the weekend, or, you know. Well,
I've definitely seen a trend in the last couple of years. There was a spot in East London when I was working there called P. Franco, and they basically had their non-negotiable was they would never have a permanent chef. It would always be a rotating cast of chefs. So like, you can come and do a month or 3 months or 6 months or whatever, but like no one's ever going to be the set head chef. And they have chefs from all over the world just come and tap in. You know, like if you're in between a job or whatever and you're like, maybe I'm doing a new opening in 6 months, what can I do to fill my time? Or like shit like that. So for me, if I was to open a venue, I would love to cook the first couple of years and then just fucking tap out and be like, cool, whatever chefs from around the world, you want to come and have a holiday in Frio? Come and work here, do 3 months, cook whatever the fuck you want. I don't need any input.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, because like, I mean, that way as chefs, you have a bit more freedom, man. People get to travel a bit more. Like, it's a sick job if you can do that rather than just being stuck in one kitchen, right? So
and that's a major problem, you know, like you get stuck or something and then you get angry and then you leave rather than sort of like...
Yeah, it's not even necessarily the kitchen, it's the menu, right? Like, you just got to... You might not like 80% of the menu you're currently cooking, and you just got to do it for a season.
Or the style.
And you're like, for another 3 months, you got to go, okay, cool.
Well, that one's an Italian restaurant, right?
Yeah.
It's never not going to be an Italian restaurant.
That's
what if it's Italian now, and then it's Mexican and fusion or whatever?
Just to keep your venue fresh, right? You know, like, I think a lot of people open venues because something's trendy, you know, like... Trends come and go, bro. Like, if you open a sick venue and you're operating nicely and you support chefs in coming up and doing what they do, like, I don't even know if I'll be able to get international chefs to come and work at one of my restaurants. It might just be fucking young kids in Perth, but like, if you can nurture that and be like, cool, you got some ideas, like, you got a way that you want to cook things, fuck yeah, come and work with me. You know, I don't need to have too much hands on, but like, I'll give you the freedom to cook what you want.
You don't need that many dishes too, when you do it like that.
Yeah.
You don't need like...
Oh, fuck no.
Fucking 50.
No. I've got a couple snacks, couple mains, and like one dessert, because I'm not a pastry chef.
As long as it's just all rad, that's all you need.
Yeah,
just tasty rad.
Yeah, I saw a bit of a personality. Short Order was doing a pop-up in Frio.
Sick.
Originally.
When they first started out, what Simon and that?
Yeah,
nice.
And we saw it every Friday. They'd come in and fucking line out the door.
Yeah, that's the same as all those ones said like that. Hood Burger as well.
Work, I'm like, there's something clicking over in my brain. I was like, this is how you do it. Hey.
Yeah.
Oh man, if I could do it as a full-time job, it'd be fucking awesome, bro. Like, you got to pay the bills, so it's not that easy. But it is definitely not. Like, I had a period when I left Lola's before I started a new ruin that I was just doing pop-ups. It's fucking awesome, bro. Because I was literally doing like 1 or 2 pop-ups a week, doing like 1 or 2 prep days, and the rest just like writing a menu. So you're just sitting at home, fucking reading books and shit.
Yes.
Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna cook that. Nice, that's sick. You know, like.
I want to do like these rolling festivals soon, and I'm trying to get like City of Perth money for it.
Yeah, you got.
But that's the same vibe.
Government money is where it's at.
Yeah, but that's like that was my no one wants to do it because I don't think they don't. It's not that they don't want to do that sort of vibe or style. They don't understand it.
Yeah,
it's but no, that's what. Like you can do like a taco festival, for example. It would fucking kill. It would destroy.
Yeah.
And there's so many vendors here that just are elite, but you just don't go and get them. Like Main Liquor does a great job of like bringing people in.
Pretty sick stuff.
Yeah, but like there's only so much you can do with that, especially there in Osborne Park and things like that. But like if I always thought about doing stuff like that.
Did you ever see Meatopia in London?
No.
Meatopia. So it was like the sickest time of year for chefs. So basically there's this big outdoor venue in London and they shut the whole thing down and every vendor has like barbecue section. So they can do whatever the fuck they want, but it's got to be over live fire. And all of the restaurants in London get behind it. So you have 6 chefs from like so many different venues that just take the day off and be like, cool, I'm cooking flatbreads with fucking grilled meats or whatever. And you just go around. It's 1, sick for networking, but 2, also chefs in a different light. You know, they might come from fucking fine dining kitchen, but now they're just like, no, I want to put fucking skewers on a barbecue or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, something like that would be so sick.
That was sort of the idea, as well as I like the fuck is it called? It's a name like that. It's pretty much like it's like a barbecue festival that travels.
Yeah.
But it's the same sort of thing. They just get like people one off. They're not necessarily doing what they cook day to day.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, exactly what you're saying. But I don't know what to do with that. Well, I can do it, but I don't. And it would happen like that. But that's just
also like the logistics of organising chefs is fucking heavy duty.
Yeah,
bro, you know, like just trying to make sure everyone's on time and they're at the same place with everything ready.
It's funny if you can get them behind it. I think maybe that's a good thing to add to it. If you get these like all the guys in the city behind it, all the chefs, guys and girls, let them drive it.
But like, it's just like you said. It's like fuck it. It's networking from top to bottom, even though networking's kind of such a cliche word.
Yeah, but like,
it is what it is. Like we went to something the other day, we met 3 people that would happily talk to you for the rest of our lives and be able to do stuff with. Yeah. So it's, I mean, networking is like fucking business talk, but it's really just making friends, you know? Like it's like, do you want to talk to me about stuff?
That's it, yeah.
That's it. It's playground stuff.
I'm in my late 20s in a city that I did not grow up in. Like, if you don't put yourself out and do a bit of networking or meet people in the industry, you don't know anyone, mate. Like, most of my friends are like my missus or like her friends, you know, like that, or like people that I work with in kitchens.
Yeah.
But like when I was back in, like you go out to eat at venues, you say hello to the guys in the kitchen, or you know, like someone who you did your apprenticeship with, you come up with together. So like, I think there's definitely something hell positive about our industry, about that friendship that you can build with other people that have been through the same.
100%. Like, people that like legit know me know that's the last thing I ever want to do. Just go to events, go to fucking bullshit. But when there's a chef or if someone trying anything. Hey man, it's the same shit. Yeah, especially Perth, because I grew up here and know a lot of people here now. But I'll walk past 10 of you idiots to just say hey to whoever's cooking and have a chat, and with nothing being passed on other than just a bit of banter, and then just go fuck you're doing, because you know how fucked up that is. Like if you're in the, sometimes you might be in the weeds. All you need is just like, hey, bro.
Yeah.
Thanks for the food. This is sick, dude.
It's nice to say. I love saying thank you at the pass. Even we're at the old laundry the other day, and like, I feel bad to ignore the past. I don't want to go past and not. I
want to acknowledge your hardship right now.
Like, you don't have to know who I am. I'm not saying.
It's also hard to get there.
Yeah.
Like even on the outside, you know how being on the inside of the kitchen, you know that's always like you're at the back of the venue. You're probably like locked away sometimes. You can't really see where the food's coming from. All this sort of stuff. No windows. Fucking most of the time. Yeah. But like even when you try and find the past to say just hey or whatever like that, or just say thanks very much. They make it very hard. You got to go past the person who served you. The bartender's like, do you want another drink? And then you're like, fuck you cunts. You're like, not deliberately, but you're like, I just want to say.
And the reaction can be, who the fuck was that?
They don't expect it.
I'm cool with that. Yeah.
They don't expect it. No. It's really fucking funny.
I've done that many times. Who the fuck was that?
Yeah.
I worked with a front of house guy in London who's like a venue manager. He's fucking shit hot. And he used to always carry Sharpie pens, but the clicky ones.
Yeah.
And randomly, because it's never happened to me before, but like he would go in and say thank you and be like, just leave like a clicky pen on the pass and be like, oh, that's for you, chef. And it was such a nice gesture. gesture, man. Like, that's cool. He always had like a shitload in his pocket. So everywhere he went, he always got treated like amazing hospitality because people were just like, this guy's such a fucking nice dude. Like,
and so it just takes a small...
literally, because like, how often do you get a fucking gift in a kitchen?
My brother-in-law...
Yeah, but like that's a very specific gift.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
That's what you want, right?
You want what you need.
Yeah. You want an acknowledgement of anything. I could ignore the guy and then go, oh, clicky pen.
Yeah. It's like an I get you, you know? Like, I get what you do.
I'm already putting it on my apron.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. I'm going to start handing out clicky pens at different
That's funny as fuck.
Yeah. At the pop-up or
I reckon that's something he would have done once and then gone, oh,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Not to be a jerk or anything, just to be like, oh, maybe this is it.
Well,
maybe that's something.
He will not be able to eat in any venue in London and not get the full fucking treatment.
Because
everyone just knows him for being like that super nice dude who comes in, he's like acknowledges. Like, I think that shit's important, man. Like, we're in hospitality. It's nice that people are a bit hospitable back. You know what I mean?
Like, it's funny sometimes.
Yeah. Because you work your ass off, right? I was fucking working hours a day, hot kitchens, like just to try and get someone a good meal on the table. Like for them to just give a little heads up and be like, thanks for doing what you're doing. Sick. Thank you. That's all I needed. Like,
yeah, and it's nice if you go into other venues as a chef and the chefs go, oh, there's a chef over there, and maybe just give you a little something.
I always do it, man. If we check bookings and stuff like that, like, you got to be an idiot not to, bro. Like, the people I want to impress really are chefs, you know? And like, Blaze and Steph are really good at doing that, where, you know, they're cooking the food that people that know food really want to eat, you know what I mean? And they're not trying to do it for the market or whatever. They're like, no, we want to cook cool food that we would want to eat on our day off. And if you like it, you'll come down and eat it. And if you don't really agree with it, then who cares, you know? Like,
yeah, it's cool. You're doing something good.
Who gives a shit? People have fucking come through the door.
Yeah, rock on. Yeah, any more stories? Maybe one more. We're almost there.
Do we do...
Hi guys, so this happened way back in my early days.
Turn it down. Oh no, we did.
It's my career when I was a chef's party in London at.
One of your fellows.
Here we go.
Hang on. Sorry.
Hi, my name's Steve. I was the head chef.
Yeah. I also heard what you said. You wait till you get back to London.
Thank fuck you up. Thank fuck you moved to Perth, WA, wherever that is.
Yeah.
Go on.
Hi guys, so this happened way back in my early days of my career when I was a chef's party in London.
Real posh.
A beautiful French bistro. We just had a new sous chef start. Like second day there. And as we're gearing up for a really nice, like proper busy service, this woman walks through the back door of the kitchen, straight through the restaurant, says bonjour, hello to everyone. Obviously, we're all saying hello back.
Bonjour.
And don't really think much of it. The sous chef, trying to be a funny guy he is, decided to go up to the head chef and go, who the fuck was that fat whale?
It's a chef's wife.
Yeah, looked up, put his knife down, and just said, that's my wife.
Oh.
And I shit you not, the kitchen went absolutely silent. Pin drop.
Just
and the sous chef's face. Now. I mean, he might as well be grey. He looked like he just died a million times over. Amazing to say, we moved past it. I couldn't help my own laughter and actually just laughed out loud in the corner and pastry.
But same.
The sous chef ended up staying and taking over his head a few years later.
Wow, fucking bold. How'd you come back from that?
They stayed together?
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
I've had someone point out my wife now when she was my girlfriend and say like that hot slut out there, like, and just, but I let it go because I wanted to see what they say next. Like, I just wanted you to run. That's sort of what I'm like. I'm a bit sort of sadistic like that.
I'll let you get.
I wanted you to run this entire and then go. Which one?
Yeah.
Oh, and that's what happened. And then all I said was, "Oh, that's my girlfriend." And he's like, "Ha ha ha!" And then like, I think I rang her.
Phone.
Something about no, it was on the work phone. I said just. But this was like an hour later because he was like thinking about it. He must have been thinking about it.
He was hell nervous.
But she came in with like
I've been known to walk around kitchens saying horrible things. So
yeah. Yeah, but that's just an instinct thing, right? It's just an instinct.
Yeah.
And you go like, not necessarily.
Like I can
What
see
an
myself
unlucky cunt that
doing
way.
that. Not to be rude to the woman, but just to like be a fuckhead.
Yeah.
Just
Be
to
part
get
of the
something
gang.
like,
Yeah.
fuck.
But like, generally speaking, to the chefs out there, if someone walks through your kitchen and waves at everybody, don't say a fucking word about it. She's probably important, mate. Like,
and no one pulls her up for being there.
Yeah. No one's like, who the fuck's this in the kitchen?
But also, you don't want it too. You don't want like, oh fuck, what's about to happen? Is something about to?
Oh,
if you're an apprentice, though, I used to get that. I used to get like, oh, is that your mum or is that your, you know?
Yeah.
But as an apprentice thing, that's just a ripping an apprentice. Yeah.
Definitely like a partner will come in the kitchen and then they will leave and then the shit will start.
Yeah.
But maybe not
is
to
that your
their
missus,
face.
is it?
But that's way different because it's just like we already know who she is.
Yeah.
That's not like saying it out loud. Yeah.
I met my partner at Peggy's when I was working there.
Yeah.
So I think that everybody knew her from the get-go because she was like a regular customer and then all of a sudden we were then going out together. So it was very clear like that's my partner. Don't fucking dare.
She wasn't working there.
Nah, she used to be a regular. She used to come and sit, and I remember saying to one of the boys, I was like, "Fuck, man, fuck that guy's so nuts. She's so lovely. Like more, like obviously very attractive, but like more than anything, she was just so fucking nice.
Something about her for you,
Yeah, and like on Peggy's, you know that the pass like is very interactive.
Yeah,
like,
it's very low.
Yeah, it's very low, and this was at a time before the buzzers, so it was like we were doing it old school. So you were still calling names, and people were coming up to the pass.
Oh yeah, you just put it on the thing.
Yeah,
like
so like now it's
table
buzzers,
service
but like it used to be. I used to be on the pass all day shouting names and stuff.
Ah, okay.
And she used to come in and
yeah.
order an egg salad because she works in Freo.
That was the one I used to order. Yeah.
So she was Charlotte, the girl with the egg salad, and she was always so nice when she came up to the pass, and I was just like, fuck. I want her to be my partner. And that was it, man. Just
we took your chef whites out the front, did you?
Yeah, we've been together ever since, mate. We got a dog now. We got a little house in Whitegum. I'm living this fucking suburban lifestyle, mate.
The Perth dream.
The Perth dream.
Is her
mate.
nickname Egg Salad though?
No. She's just Shah. But I do tell people all the time, and she does always go, fuck's sake.
That's a fun. It's a fun story though.
Yeah, well, I thought, I'm gonna fucking throw it on the podcast.
It's a good chef story because it's
now.
like, you know, to get a patron is like that's top level.
Well, like I didn't think it was ever going to be possible. I was like joking around with this apprentice chef, being like, "I should be my girlfriend one day." And then like,
of course.
And like years on, like now it's come. Like obviously we're on Instagram and stuff like that. And I remember him messaging me and being like, "I can't fucking believe that, bro."
It makes sense though, man, because like she's a regular, and that might sound a bit weird, but the way, I mean, like people have never been to Peggy's, especially. You were doing that, so it's very interactive. So you would definitely have got to know at least some part of you, your personality.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Or like your little quirks or something like that.
I was there just 24/7, man. I was there all weekend, every weekend. Like, I actually fucking loved Peggy's, man. It was such a sick place to work. Like the people that came in there at the time were awesome as well. Like Freo's got a really nice community, and you see the same faces in there. People always pumped as well, you know. Like, man, I'd get so many people that like made the drive from fucking wherever to come to Peggy, you know, it's like a 45-minute drive because we want to get the snitty. I'm like, that's fucking sick, man. Like, you know, it was nice working somewhere like that, and I think that's what made me stick around in Freo, man. It's just like people were so nice. So
good spot.
Very cool.
Yeah. Definitely, man.
How was it? This is the end.
We got to go
because the cameras do shut off at some point. Look at that guy.
Sick. Oh yeah, he's about to
absolutely fucking dying.
Fuck yeah.
Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure.
Let's do it again.
And we'll come down and pop
come
ups
and eat.
and stuff.
Yeah, come and eat at any time, man.
I'm super keen.
Hit us up.
Yeah, new ruin or off license, man. Either or.
All right, Drew. Thanks a lot.
No worries. Thank you guys.